Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to World of Tanks. Going to be reviewing this, the A-32. And if you're wondering why I have so many credits and things, well, that's because of the bundle that was that's here. This is the Steam Pioneer bundle, but this bundle came out at the very end of Halloween. It's of the A-32 Tier 4 medium tank, Russian, and this is effectively the prototype version of the T-34 that the Russians came up with. And well, it's actually pretty fun. It's actually a pretty good Tier 4 medium tank. Defeat an easy 4. Yeah. So, yeah, I probably should have reviewed this earlier because it's now sort of middle of November when I'm reviewing this, which means it's not going to come out until like January or something because pre-uploading things. But anyway, so yeah, this is a Tier 4 medium tank. Came out sort of end of Halloween-ish era, age, I don't know, and it's one of those rare tanks again. I mean, you barely see any of these at all on standard World of Tanks, let alone World of Tanks Blitz, because obviously World of Tanks Blitz has just come out. But either way, it is a Tier 4 medium tank, and it's actually pretty good. As are most of the Tier 4, well, actually, as are most of the tanks in Blitz, to be honest. But having a look here, it's the A-32 with a 17% protection, 16% firepower, 30% shot effectiveness, 80% maneuverability. So, obviously, invested heavily in maneuverability, and that's about it. Because shot effectiveness, firepower, and protection are pretty low. It does have 560 HP. Let's have a look at some other Tier 4 mediums. 590. 520. I can actually filter these things, so there we go. Okay, so those are the only medium tanks that I have. So 540 560 HP even is actually a fair amount of HP. I mean, yeah, it's got a fair amount of HP, a reasonable amount of HP for a Tier 4 medium tank. And the hull armour is only 35, 30, 16, turret 35 all round, so it's not particularly thick armour. However, look at that sloping, it's fairly sloped. Not as sloped as the T-34, but then again, this is the prototype. The T-34, I think, has got possibly a higher sloping. I'm not too sure, because I don't have a T-34 to compare this to. But I believe the T-34 has got a higher sloping than the A-20. I know it definitely has got thicker armour. It also has a better gun, but we'll leave the gun for now. So yeah, it's only 35mm, however it is sloped, and the front of the turret is also slightly sloped. The sides are definitely sloped, so you can get some ricochets off of that. If you angle yourself, I mean angling things like this, the T-34, if you can angle the T-34 well, you can do well in this. Because the sides, very good at angling. You can get a plentiful amount of bounces if you angle your tank. So the armor is a sort of bit of the fact that it's not particularly thick, but it is increased with sloping. So make of that what you will. Here's the engine that it gets: a BD2, 540 horsepower with a 15% chance of fire and impact. There's the suspension, 21-ton tank with a 40 degrees per second suspension traverse. There's the maneuverability. It weighs about 20 tons with my equipment set up. It has got a 40 horsepower, 540 horsepower engine. For a 20-ton tank, that's actually pretty powerful, which means it does go at 70 kilometers per hour with a 40 degrees per second hull and a 40 degrees per second turret traverse. I mean, compared to something like the Sentinel, which is a 27-ton tank with only 330 horsepower, which means that it is a fairly sluggish tank compared to the A-20. So, yeah, this thing is really very mobile, and you need it because, well, there's the turret, 230 meters, which is meh, alright. But here's the gun that it gets. It gets a 76mm L10U, And the reason that you need this maneuverability is that it only has 66 penetration with AP, only 75 with heat, which means that your heat will just about manage to get you through the front of a Matilda. And, well, that's a Matilda. With AP, you can't get through the front of a Matilda with standard AP. I mean, there are several things at Tier 4 which will defeat you, let alone Tier 5. So, it has got terrible penetration. However, it does have pretty good average damage. 160 with 120 high explosive. Only 20 high explosive, but then again, Tier 4 high explosive, 76. It does have a pretty bad dispersion of 0.45, but it does have a pretty good aim time of 1.9 seconds, so it's pretty inaccurate with just terrible penetration with AP, but it does aim fairly well, but it only has a 5.18 rate of fire, which means that it does reload pretty slowly for a 76mm gun, so the gun isn't that great. But then, if you can flank people, which is what this tank is designed for, you can do very well on it. So this tank is all about the flanking, so you've got to sort of get around people, flank, use that terrible penetration to actually deal damage that way. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very mobile tank. It's like the T-34 in some ways, except you can't take on people frontally like you can in the T-34 in certain situations. So, yeah, it's a very mobile tank, which has got a pretty crappy gun. It does hold 72 shots, however, so you can, blaze away for as long as you want to people. And as for equipment fit, I've gone gun rammer. Obviously, it's a pretty slow reloading gun. I mean, what's this gun? 4.29. Okay, so this gun reloads in about, I don't know, 7 or 8 seconds perhaps, I'm not too sure. But because it is very mobile, I have also gone with improved vents, because, well, improved vents are always useful. As for your other equipment fit, you've always got an enhanced gun lane drive, which you don't need, 1.9 second aim time. Cyclone filter, you could do for your engine durability. And you also have the wet ammo rack in case your ammo rack keeps getting damaged. Camo net you could do if you wanted to fit camo net with sort of binos and maybe coated optics. You could be a very good scout tank. Due to your high speed and your very good maneuverability, you could probably do fairly well as a scout tank. So, I mean, camo net, binos, not a bad idea. Coated optics if you don't want to go that. So enhanced Christie suspension for suspension durability you could do if you want to take jumps and things. So yeah, I mean, if you want to take some jumps there. Also, so that you can keep sort of running around, because higher suspension durability, less likely it is it's going to get blown off. So I mean, there's always that. Spoiler, no, not really. 35mm, even if it is sloped, not that great. Plus, there's no artillery, so this sort of removes any use of spore liners unless someone's firing high explosive at you, like howitzers or something. Then you've got toolbox. Toolbox is always useful. As vehicle provisions, standard fuel, plus 3% engine power and turret reverse, activated automatically, permanent throughout battle. Condensed milk, plus 3% to crew mastery, activated automatically, permanent throughout a battle. And then protective kit, plus 15% to protection of crew from injuries, plus 10% to speed and module repair, 20% to fire protection, and 10% to ammo rack and fuel tank durability, activated automatically, permanent throughout a battle. So, there you go, you can always fit some of these on. I don't really like to use provisions, but then up to you. As for consumables, anyone that's watched any of my other Blitz reviews will know what I'm about to say, but if not, you've got the standard repair, first aid, and automatic fire extinguisher. So, extinguishers fire automatically, heals all injured crew, repairs all damaged modules. All of them have got a cooldown of 90 seconds, and you can use them multiple times during a battle. Then you've got the engine power boost for plus 20% to engine power for 15 seconds with a 75-second cooldown. You've got adrenaline for plus 20% to load speed, 10% to chance of damaging enemy modules, 15-second duration with a 75-second cooldown. Then you've got the multi-purpose restoration pack, which does all three of these combined into one with a 90-second cooldown and multiple uses per battle. However, here's the thing. say you're using this and this and you have one of these spare. This illustrates why I prefer to have all three, to have the three individual ones rather than single multi-purpose restoration. So say you've had your track destroyed. So your track is destroyed, you're sitting out in the open, there's three people aiming at you. You need to get out of there. So you use your multi-purpose restoration pack to get yourself out of there. So you use it, repair your track, you go off. 10 seconds later, another shot hits you and you get set on fire. What do? You've used your multi-purpose restoration pack, you have about 80 seconds until it cools down, and you're on fire. You can't use it again to extinguish the fire because you've used it. So you're just going to burn out, which is why I prefer to go with all three of these rather than a couple of these and one of these, because if I use that and I then get set on fire or something, then, well, there's the problem there. So, I mean, that's why I prefer to have all three rather than the single, but then again, if you're using these two, then you sort of have to go with that. So, I mean, it's up to how you load out your tank, but I prefer to go with all three of them like that. As for camo, I mean, this camo I think looks great, the summer one. Some of these are pretty nice. Not too sure on the Verdun Forest, though. I mean, the Blitz winner, I mean, fair enough if he likes it, but I just don't really like the Verdun Forest. I mean, it could go well on some other tanks, not sure. And then you got the Twister Cup, which is the World of Tanks Blitz event. So you've got the various things for that. You've got Triumph for the first major tournament in Blitz. Shattered Ice, I mean, that's just a nice one. Then you've got Inferno, which is also pretty nice. Undeniable Advantage for, you know, that. And you got January Frost I've decided to go for. I would normally go with something like that, but I just thought this one looks nice. Could go with that, but now I prefer that one. Then you got the Desert, so yeah. But as for the crew, nothing much you can say on that. I mean, this is a medium tank, so I mean, you can't train individual crew members, you can only train the whole crew, and the whole crew is dependent on the vehicle type. It doesn't matter whether I'm using this tank, the Matilda, or something like the, I don't know, the T-23-3. Could be using this, the A-32 or the Matilda. They're all going to train the same crew skills. So, I mean, up to you as to which one of these you want to go with. So you've got Smooth Turret Reverse, you've got Smooth Ride, you've got Mentor, you've got Rage, and then you've got Penetration Boost. And you can pause and read the descriptions. But, I mean, there's nothing I can really say on that. So, overall, this is a very, very quick, definitely designed for flanking medium tank. It's certainly not designed to go one-on-one due to the high maneuverability and the low penetration and the pretty poor dispersion. However, this is a very nice tank, and it's certainly another rare tank to add to my collection of rare tanks. I mean, I could just sort of, you know, bookmark all of the rare tanks, which I might do at some point, just to show, I mean, just how many rare tanks I actually have in here. And let's actually look at them now. So you've got Easy 4, you've got the T-23-3, the T-14 is not really that rare, I don't think. The Independence is, the Micro Mouse definitely is, the 5/4 plus the Hydro, the B2 as well is actually fairly rare. What else? The Tetrarch, not really. A-32, yeah. This thing is also pretty rare. The Angry Connor as well. The Chinukai isn't, however the camouflage that I have is, so these are all of like the rare tanks that I have. The Easy 4, T-23-3, the Independence, the Micro Mouse, the 5/4, the Hydro, the Panzer B2, Tankenstein, A-32, Su-76I, the Angry Connor, the Chinukai, and the Helsing. So yeah, I have a lot of rare tanks in my collection. But I mean, yeah, this is a very good tank. If you do have it, then congrats. If you don't, you're missing out, I'm afraid. But yeah, it is a very nice tank. I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.